What if the thoughts that keep disturbing your peace are not as powerful as you think? What if you could train your mind to stop feeding fear, overthinking, anger, and negativity? The Stoics understood something thousands of years ago that modern psychology continues to explore today. You cannot always control what enters your mind, but you can learn to control what you do with it. In this video, you'll discover 8 powerful Stoic rules that can help you change your relationship with negative thoughts, regain control of your attention, and build a calmer, stronger mind. Negative thinking can quietly become a habit. One small problem becomes 100 imagined problems. One criticism becomes a reason to doubt yourself. One mistake from yesterday becomes something you replay again and again. Before you realize it, your mind is spending more energy fighting imaginary battles than living in the present moment. Then Stoicism offers a different approach. Instead of trying to eliminate every uncomfortable thought, Stoic philosophy teaches you to observe your thoughts, question them, and choose your response. These 8 rules can help you stop giving unnecessary power to thoughts that do not deserve it. Blend. If you enjoy practical Stoic wisdom and powerful lessons for building a stronger mind, make sure to like this video, subscribe to Daily Stoic Dose, and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss the next lesson. What if you could wake up tomorrow and stop allowing every negative thought to control your mood? What if criticism didn't destroy your confidence, uncertainty didn't steal your peace, and mistakes didn't define your entire day? The Stoics believed this was possible, not because life would suddenly become easier, but because your mind could become stronger. Blendia. Most people spend their lives trying to control circumstances they cannot control. They want other people to behave differently. They want the past to change. They want the future to become certain. They want everyone to approve of them. And when reality refuses to cooperate, negative thinking begins. But the Stoics recognized a fundamental truth. Peace begins when you stop demanding that reality be different from what it is. The first Stoic rule is simple. Separate what you can control from what you cannot. This may be one of the most powerful mental exercises ever developed. You cannot control another person's opinion of you. You cannot control whether someone respects you. You cannot control yesterday. You cannot control every event that happens tomorrow. You cannot control whether life gives you exactly what you wanted. But you can control your judgment. You can control your effort. You can control your decisions. You can control how honestly you act. You can control whether you continue moving forward after disappointment. Negative thinking becomes stronger when we spend our attention on things outside our control. Imagine worrying for hours about what someone might say about you. At the end of those hours, has anything changed? Probably not. The only thing that changed was your emotional state. The Stoic response is to bring your attention back to your own actions. Instead of asking, what if they don't like me? Ask, am I behaving according to my values? Instead of asking, what if everything goes wrong? Ask, what can I do today to prepare myself? This shift may seem small, but it changes the direction of your mind. The second Stoic rule is to question your first interpretation. A negative thought often arrives disguised as a fact. You think, they ignored me because they don't respect me. But do you actually know that? Maybe they were distracted. Maybe they were dealing with their own problems. Maybe they didn't notice you. Your mind creates stories constantly. The danger is that we often believe those stories without examining them. The Stoics understood that events themselves do not automatically determine our emotional response. Our interpretation plays a major role. Please, when something happens, pause and ask yourself, what do I actually know and what am I assuming? This single question can interrupt an enormous amount of unnecessary suffering. Suppose someone doesn't respond to your message. Your mind might immediately create a story. They are angry with me. I did something wrong. They don't care about me. You begin feeling rejected before you even know the truth. The reality is simply that they haven't responded yet. Everything else is an interpretation. This doesn't mean ignoring genuine problems. It means refusing to add imaginary suffering to real situations. A Stoic looks at reality first and the story second. The third Stoic rule is to stop arguing with reality. Negative thinking often comes from saying, "This shouldn't be happening." You lose a job and think, "This shouldn't have happened." Someone disappoints you and think, "They should have treated me better." You make a mistake and think, "I should never have done that," but the event has already happened. Arguing with reality mentally cannot reverse it. It only creates a second layer of pain. Acceptance doesn't mean approval. It doesn't mean you like what happened. It means you acknowledge that it happened and decide what to do next. Bonda. Imagine receiving unexpected rain on a day when you planned to spend hours outside. You can spend the entire afternoon becoming angry that the sky didn't follow your plans, or you can accept the rain and change your plans. The rain doesn't care about your frustration. Your anger doesn't stop the clouds. Dear life will sometimes rain on your plans. The Stoic question is not, "Why did this happen to me?" The better question is, "What can I do with what happened?" The fourth Stoic rule is to train your attention. Your mind becomes stronger in the direction you repeatedly point it. If you spend hours consuming negativity, comparing yourself to others, replaying arguments, and imagining disasters, your mind becomes highly skilled at negativity. But attention can be trained. When a negative thought appears, you don't have to chase it. You don't have to fight it either. You can notice it and redirect your attention towards something useful. Think of your mind like a garden. Whatever you repeatedly water has a greater chance of growing. If you constantly water fear, resentment, jealousy, and comparison, those emotions become familiar. If you repeatedly practice gratitude, discipline, patience, and constructive thinking, those qualities become stronger. This doesn't mean pretending that negative emotions don't exist. Stoicism isn't about becoming emotionless. It is about becoming less controlled by emotions. You can acknowledge fear without obeying fear. You can experience anger without becoming angry at everyone around you. You can feel sadness without allowing sadness to determine every decision. The fifth Stoic rule is to remember that thoughts are not commands. This is an incredibly important distinction. Your mind may produce a thought saying, "Give up." That doesn't mean you have to give up. Your mind may say, "They don't respect you." That doesn't mean you need to confront them. Your mind may say, "You will fail." That doesn't mean failure is guaranteed. A thought is an event occurring inside your mind. It is not automatically an instruction. Imagine receiving a notification on your phone. You can see it without immediately opening it. Your thoughts can work the same way. You can notice them without immediately responding. The next time your mind produces a destructive thought, simply say to yourself, "I noticed that thought." This creates a distance. Instead of becoming the thought, you become the observer of the thought. That distance gives you freedom. The sixth Stoic rule is to use adversity as training. Most people see difficult experiences as interruptions to their lives. The Stoics saw difficulty as an opportunity to practice virtue. If someone tests your patience, you have an opportunity to practice patience. If uncertainty scares you, you have an opportunity to practice courage. If someone insults you, you have an opportunity to practice self-control. If you fail, you have an opportunity to practice resilience. This doesn't mean you should seek suffering. It means that when difficulty arrives, you don't have to waste the experience. Marcus Aurelius faced enormous pressure, Yet he repeatedly reminded himself that obstacles could become opportunities to practice virtue. A difficult person can become a lesson in patience. A setback can become a lesson in resilience. A disappointment can reveal what you were depending on too heavily. When you start thinking this way, adversity stops being only an enemy. It becomes training. Meet the seventh Stoic rule is to stop living in imaginary futures. Men's overthinking often happens because the mind travels into a future that doesn't exist yet. You imagine everything that could go wrong. You predict rejection, failure, embarrassment, financial problems, relationship problems, and countless other possibilities. The mind believes that worrying about these possibilities is preparation, but worrying and preparing are not the same thing. Preparation produces action. Worry produces repetition. If there is something you can do about a future problem, do it. Make a plan. Learn a skill. Save money. Have the conversation. Prepare yourself. But if there is nothing you can do right now, return to the present. The future deserves preparation, not obsession. Ask yourself, what is actually required of me today? Not tomorrow, not next year. Today. Maybe your responsibility is simply to complete your work, exercise, learn something, take care of your family, or improve one small part of your life. The mind wants certainty. Life cannot always provide it. Stoic strength comes from learning to act wisely, even without certainty. The eighth Stoic rule is to choose your inner voice carefully. Many people speak to themselves in ways they would never speak to someone they love. They make one mistake and immediately say, "I'm useless." They experience one failure and think, "I'll never succeed." They face rejection and tell themselves, "Nobody will ever value me." That inner voice matters. Stoicism teaches discipline, but discipline is not the same as self-hatred. You can acknowledge your mistakes without destroying your identity. Instead of saying, "I'm a failure," say, "I made a mistake and I can learn from it." Instead of saying, "I can't handle this," say, "This is difficult, but I can handle the next step." Instead of saying, "Everything is falling apart," say, "Something went wrong. What can I control now?" These aren't empty positive affirmations. They are more accurate ways of thinking. Being a strong mind isn't a mind that never experiences negative thoughts. A strong mind is one that doesn't allow every negative thought to become reality. You will still have difficult days. You will still experience disappointment. You will still become frustrated, worried, or afraid. Stoicism doesn't promise a life without emotional challenges. It teaches you how to meet those challenges without surrendering your entire mind to them. Imagine two people receiving the same criticism. One immediately becomes angry, spends hours thinking about revenge, and allows the comment to destroy their confidence. The other pauses and asks, "Is there anything useful in this criticism?" If there is, they learn from it. If there isn't, they let it go. Same event, different interpretation, different response, different life. This is the power of Stoic philosophy. You don't need to control everything around you. You need to become better at controlling what happens inside you. So when negative thoughts appear tomorrow, don't panic. Don't immediately believe them. Don't fight them for hours. Pause, observe, question. Separate facts from assumptions. Focus on what you control. Accept what you cannot change. Take the next useful action. Over time, this becomes a habit, and habits become character. Your mind is not something that must remain exactly as it is today. Through repeated attention, disciplined choices, and better interpretations, you can change the way you respond to life. You can become calmer without becoming passive. You can become confident without becoming arrogant. You can become emotionally disciplined without becoming cold. you can become peaceful without escaping from reality. The goal isn't to eliminate every negative thought. The goal is to stop giving every negative thought authority over your life. When you master that distinction, something changes. A thought can appear without controlling you. A criticism can be heard without destroying you. A setback can happen without defining you. An uncertain future can exist without stealing today's peace. That is what it means to rewire your mind through Stoic wisdom. Tom Dades. So remember these 8 principles. Focus on what you control, question your interpretations, stop fighting reality, train your attention. Remember that thoughts are not commands. Use adversity as training. Stop living in imaginary futures and choose your inner voice carefully. Practice them consistently, especially when life becomes difficult. Anyone can remain calm when everything's going perfect. Real strength appears when circumstances become uncomfortable and you still choose your response wisely. If this video gave you a new perspective, like this video, subscribe to Daily Stoic Dose, and share this message with someone who struggles with overthinking or negative thoughts. And remember, you don't need to control every thought that enters your mind. You simply need to become disciplined enough to decide which thoughts deserve your attention. Your mind may speak first, but you get the final decision.